Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're brand new to the channel, go ahead, click on subscribe, give it a big thumbs up for this video. We're going to get into Illuvium, and this is Illuvium 0. So this is kind of the basic game. It does have a free-to-play element to it, but this is going to be inclusive of the land sales, which should be coming on later on this month or early in November. And it is going to be separate from the main game. So we're going to run through, we're going to take a look at some of the leaks that they have going on with this game and see just what everyone is so excited about. So here is the Illuvium 0 pre-alpha footage. So if you see, this is kind of the content of the game and what it's going to look like. So we're going to pause it throughout here. So building your Nexus. Now the Nexus is the home base. In the first structure you must build, use the build function, which is right down here in the bottom right. So this is going to be the first thing you see when you join into the game. Right up here, we do have our resources, we do have our fuels, or vice versa, depending on how they're going to be kind of built out. So similar to like the old school SimCity civilization, depending on it, and look just right there, you build your first building. So that is the Nexus. That is the epicenter to everything that you're going to do in Illuvium 0 and also on your land when you go to build things. Second one we have here, building an engineering workshop. The engineering workshop is required to build most other buildings. So this is kind of the building aspect of it, which we've seen a lot of different workshops that have kind of come into play. But the thing I want to show you is looking here, and this is where it's kind of interesting, is look at the area, guys. Look at how absolutely enormous this area is. The buildings are 2x2. Some of them they said are 2x3. So it's going to be interesting exactly how many buildings that we can build within these places, how many resource spawns we're going to have within there, what the Alluvials are going to look like in this portion of Illuvium 0. This is it, guys. This, I do not believe this is the open world RPG. This is going to be the builder base version of Illuvium. As we know it, this is going to be not part of the main game. Again, this is going to be part of the side game, mini game, whatever you want to call it. So they're going to go ahead, build that building right there. You can speed up. Of course, we know speeding up is going to cost credits, or you're actually going to have to buy credits. So if you're looking to speed up your buildings, and again, we're not too sure exactly how long it's going to take to speed up some of these buildings or how long it's going to take in general. So looking here, speed up takes 52 seconds. It takes 1 credit. Now, let's say hours, minutes, seconds. When you start getting into higher level buildings, again, we don't know how high the level of the buildings are going to go. You might have buildings that go to 8, 10, 15, 20, 50, whatever it may be. So this might take hours. This might take days. It could even take weeks that we've seen from games as you do make progression. It could take a considerable amount of time, which of course you can shorten up if you pay credits to speed up the process overall. So paid 1 credit there, boom, the building is done. Now the next one, this is the big one that we want to focus on. Build a hydrogen pump. You have a lake structure upon which you can build a hydrogen pump to start extracting hydrogen. Now, this is where it's going to get kind of interesting when it comes to the land. So we know there are a couple different tiers of land, but there are also different resources that are going to be primary on that land. So it's going to be interesting to see with the land sale coming up. We know there are 100,000 pieces of land. That is right, guys. The game does contain 100,000 pieces of land. For the initial purchase, they are going to release 20,000. So we're getting 1/5 of the land that is going to be available for Illuvium 0. And for a lot of players, guys, this is going to be the game that they play. Again, a lot of players, this is going to be it. It's not going to be the massive world open RPG with the auto battler, collecting the NFTs, things of that nature. This could be the only part that is not going to be in the build game. So ultimately, you can get resources out of here. So building the hydrogen pump, you can extract it actually from the lake that is right up here. And those, from my understanding, is what you can sell. So you can actually take the hydrogen that you mine within your land. You can sell the hydrogen to collect resources. Now, for the tiers 1 through 5, tier 1 land will not have fuel. So ultimately, I'm not sure if these are the fuel or these over here are the fuel, But remember, tier 1 land will not contain fuel. So if you're looking to buy tier 1 land, you will only have resources that you can use to collect. You will not have fuel. Anything above that tier 1 land does have fuel on there, which it's going to be random generated. So there are 3 resources. There are 3 different fuels. The random generation of the land that you get is going to be just that. It is going to be completely random when it comes to the land and what resources you actually get within that land. So ultimately, you could get a piece of land. You could have all 3 hydrogens on there. You could have a mix of all the different ones. So essentially what's going to happen is if you're in a land that has all 3, great, you got all 3 of them. Here we are speeding up with the credits. But if you have all 3 of the resources on your land, great. If you only have 2 of the 3, or if you only have 1 of the 3, you can mine that resource and actually exchange it for other resources in the, I believe it's going to be the Alluvials, or whatever the method is going to be to go ahead and exchange for other resources that you need to build up. Now remember, in here you can build up the resources, you can get the gas, you can sell the gas, you can use the gas, and the players in the actual game will buy the resources from the market. But ultimately in here, it is where you're going to craft. From my understanding, again, all of this could change, guys, but this is where you're going to get the weapons. This is where you're going to build the armor. This is where you're going to catch the Alluvials, things of that nature, to put it into the main game. So there we go. Now that we have a hydrogen pump, you could start extracting it. Select the pump feature from here. There it is, guys. So the water extracting, which, let's back that up for just a minute. They went through pretty quick on there. I want to see what else it says on that actual part. Now let's just back that up a little bit. Boom. So we have sell, so you can sell the resources, pump the resources, upgrade the building, or close. So there we go. So that is going to be your sell option. So we pulled up some hydrogen for lake. Now, some of the other questions that a lot of players had, which again, it's kind of up in the air, is when you have resources like this, is there a way to exhaust the resource? So will the resource run out? From my understanding, no, the resources will not run out. That you can actually mine the resources that are going to be on this land. But again, the question really becomes the size of this land, the amount of buildings that you need, the resources you need. Is it going to be more about building more buildings, containers, things of that nature? Is it going to be about leveling up the resources in the building first? Again, a lot of it is yet to be seen. So once they do the release, now this is scanning for Alluvials. So part 1 of 2, now that you have a singularity scanner, so this is another building that you have to build. So we have a couple pumps out here. It looks like these are probably the collectors, the condenser collectors, and a couple other buildings. But now you can start scanning for Alluvials. And this is where I feel it's going to be really important, because remember, again, dependent on the land that you have is going to be the levels of the Alluvials, or the tiers of the Alluvials that you can catch. 1 through 5. So if you're purchasing a land, which is a tier 4 land, when you scan for Alluvials, you can find tier 4 Alluvials, which are going to be, of course, much higher, much stronger than tier 1 Alluvials, which is where I feel like the higher level land is going to be super beneficial. Tier 5 land, they're talking like 1 to 5, 1 to 10 $1,000,000 for tier 5 land. Tier 4, they're even talking 10, 15, 20, $30,000 for tier 4 land. Basic land, land 1 that doesn't produce fuel, which I believe these are the 3 fuels. It will not produce the fuel, but ultimately within there is, if you're getting the tier 1 land, you have to buy the fuel if you're going to use the fuel, because you won't be able to mine it. You'll just have the resources. But when you scan for Alluvials, you'll only have those level 1 Alluvials as well. You're not going to have the higher tier Alluvials. So also what we know from these singularity scanners is there is a chance for them to fail. So they have said that the fail rate on the singularity scanners are pretty high, that it is roughly a 50, I believe it said 50% fail rate for scanning. So again, we don't know what the cost is going to be, or the timing of scanning is going to be, if the scanning timer is going to be longer depending on the tier of land you have, or the Alluvials. So if it takes 1 hour for a tier 1 land, is it going to take 4 hours for a tier 4 land to go ahead and fail? Again, we don't know. It's still so many questions. We're on Discord every single day, checking it out, seeing what's going on. But right here, guys, you can see the bio data of the Alluvials, and then you can also scan. So here we're going to go ahead and scan. There it is. It is looking for the Alluvial. There is the timer as it completes around. Very cool design. It is done. And there we go. So we discovered a new Alluvial Atlas. Now, at this point, I believe you are going to have the Atlas NFT. Now, this is actually the Alluvial that you can sell. So it looks like it's on level 1. And we have to see how massive. Well, we kind of know from the different styles, the different Alluviums, the different classes, the fusion, how absolutely enormous this game is going to be, guys. So it could take, you know, a couple copies of Atlas if you're scanning all the time to go ahead and level him up. We're not exactly sure what that's going to look like, but it is still yet to be seen. So very excited to see everything that is coming, guys. Super stoked to see how this building is going to come out and what it's going to look like when we see the actual game release. All right, guys, so that will do it for tonight's video. Like I said earlier, go ahead, click on the subscribe button. We're going to be getting ready for Illuvium 0 land sale coming pretty soon. Hopefully you're saving your SILV or your Ethereum to go ahead and pick those up. It's going to be a Dutch auction, so really kind of up in the air on what that's going to look like. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.